Asaph brings the psalm to its close with a verse that repeats what he has already said twice before. Turn us again, O Lord God of hosts, cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Psalm 80, verse 19. This is the third time this exact plea rises through the psalm, appearing first in verse 3, then in verse 7, and now at the very end. The repetition is not empty. It is the structure holding the entire prayer together. Each time the refrain returns, the title for God grows. Verse 3 says, O God. Verse 7 says, O God of hosts. Now verse 19 says, O Lord, God of hosts, combining the covenant name Yahweh with the military title. Asaph climbs upward through these titles as his need deepens. By the time he reaches the vineyard's destruction, he needs more than a general appeal to deity. He needs the covenant-keeping Lord who commands the armies of heaven, the one who alone can reverse fire and axe and rooting boar. Turn us again asks God to do what Israel cannot do for herself. The nation drifted from her God through Baal worship, broken covenants, and hardened hearts. No amount of human resolve reverses that drift. Only God can turn a people back to himself. This matches Jeremiah's later cry in Lamentations 5, verse 21. Turn thou us unto thee, O Lord, and we shall be turned. The verb belongs to God from beginning to end. Cause thy face to shine draws once more from the Aaronic blessing in Numbers 6, verse 25. The Lord make his face shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. A shining face represents undivided favor and attention. Asaph does not ask for a partial glance or begrudging notice. He asks for the full weight of God's pleasure to rest again on his people, the very thing withdrawn when judgment fell. And we shall be saved closes the verse with certainty, not hope. Asaph does not say, we might be saved or we hope to be saved. The construction presents this as a sure outcome. If God turns his people and shines his face upon them, salvation follows as surely as day follows sunrise. There is no third variable, no additional condition Israel must meet. God's action alone secures the result. This threefold repetition teaches a pattern of persistent prayer. Jesus tells the parable of the persistent widow in Luke 18, verse 1. Men ought always to pray and not to faint. Asaph does not consider it vain repetition to ask the same thing 3 times within one psalm. Some prayers deserve to be prayed again and again until the answer comes, not because God is deaf, but because the praying itself keeps the heart fixed on the only source of support. The verse also teaches where salvation originates. Nowhere in this refrain does Asaph mention Israel's effort or Israel's military strength. The entire sequence rests on God turning and God saving. Paul echoes this pattern in Philippians 2, verse 13. For it is God, which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Restoration begins and ends with God's initiative. The psalm does not conclude with a vision of the vine already restored or the enemies already defeated. It ends mid-prayer, with the same request still rising toward heaven. This unresolved ending carries meaning. Faith continues to ask and wait. Faith trusts that the Lord God of hosts, who planted the vine, will not abandon it when his own right hand has made it strong for himself